Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I make videos about Python and my ultimate aim is to teach my viewers how to code Python. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so to be the first to watch my videos. I hope you're doing well amid this COVID situation and you should stay home and stay safe. In my previous video, we discussed about algorithms and their importance in problem solving and basically in the lives of all computer programmers. Well, today we're going to learn about something very interesting and just as useful in other programming languages: variables. Once take a look at the various keys on your keyboard. This is a picture of a pretty standard keyboard. Since we've already learned the print function, you know that Python treats the letters and special characters and the numbers on your keyboard as different categories, and they have their own specific set of instructions that are used in Python. Well, these categories of data types that we input into the computer are called data types, and they are of three main types on Python. These are strings, integers, and float. Other data types include lists, dictionaries, and tuples. We shall discuss these later. Firstly, strings can be any characters that you see on your keyboard. That includes numbers, letters, special characters, and even the spacebar, an empty space, can be a string. In Python, the string data type is represented by the word str. Next, integers, just as the name suggests, are all kinds of integers. In other words, this data type does not include any other key except the 1 to 0 on your keyboard. In Python, this data type is represented by the word int. And lastly, the float data type is basically all numbers that include decimals. Since integer variables do not accept decimal points in the numbers, a float data type can be used where decimal points are necessary. This data type is represented by the word float. Since variables are types of data that need to be stored on your computer by Python, you need to assign values to these variables. You can do this by using an assignment statement, such as this. In this assignment statement, a is the variable name and 1 is the value, while the equals to is used to assign the value to the variable, meaning it assigns 1 to the variable a. Note that equals to is not for comparison but for assigning the value. We shall learn more about comparison later. You might be wondering that I had talked about data types before and now I'm not mentioning anything such as strint or float in the command that I've given the computer. Well, when you assign a value to any variable in Python, the computer recognizes what data type that you want to give that variable automatically based on the way you input the command. For instance, as we had seen while printing, numbers do not need quotations while inputting them into the computer, whereas strings need quotations. Similarly, if you input a is equal to 1, a is automatically given the integer data type. If you say a is equal to 1.0, it is automatically given a float data type, and if you say a is equal to 1 with quotations, a is given a string data type. Therefore, it is always necessary to use quotations when assigning a string variable and not to use them while assigning an integer. Now we can add a new variable b. We can say b is equal to 2. We can now ask the computer to perform operations using these variables like what we did with the print function in my previous video, such as print a plus b. And one thing to note here is that variables do not need quotations just like integers, because while using quotations you would print the string. If you are to use quotations though, it would add the strings like this to give us 1, 2. You can feel free to pause this video here and try a few mathematical operations for yourselves for practice. If you want to change the value of a variable after already assigning it, you can use an assignment statement again, like now a is equal to 3. However, running this code will still give you the same result because Python goes through the code one line after the other, and the change in the value of the variable comes after the print statement. Therefore, it will first perform the print statement and then change the variable's value. The values assigned to variables can also be mathematical operations such as C is equal to A plus B, which can directly be printed by saying print C. In Python, we follow a simple set of rules to name variables. All variable names start with a letter or an underscore, and you're not permitted to use any special characters in the name of a variable. So far, we have only used variable names of single letters. What if you wanted to type a name describing the value that it holds, such as the cans of a soft drink in a case? You could say cans per case. You might be wondering why each word after the first one starts with a capital letter and why there are no spaces between the words. Well, this format of writing variable names is called the camel case notation and is used in most programming languages to name variables. Next, you should not make use of any reserved Python words that Python itself will ask you not to use when you try them, or you can search them up. My personal advice while naming variables is to use names that describe the value that they hold, because it would be easier to refer back to the code later on or for others to understand it easily. While naming constant values, values that you do not plan on changing later, you can name them with capital letters, such as can underscore volume in capital letters is equal to 355.0. Now that you have the basic knowledge of variables, we can move forward onto the bonus section of this video, that is comments. Comments are basically statements in Python that the computer completely ignores, and they can be typed anywhere in the code, maybe to remember something about that specific code or to explain the purpose of that code to the reader. There are mainly two styles of commenting. You can either choose to do it this way, by using double hashtags first and then a list of single hashtags, or by using double hashtags to start commenting and around titles. So today we learned about variables, their data types, and how to use them, the rules used to name variables, and how to comment in your code. Thanks for watching my video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. And don't forget, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.